content creators, especially when they blow up, they kind of have this expectation of like, this is going to continue. This is going to be an upward trend. It usually isn't. What's fun about traditional art, there's less of a fear of messing up. It kind of feels like we're new all over again. What I recently got into, do you know oshikatsu?
Yes.
Why do you say it like that? I feel like there are ways that you can be a cringe fan. For example.
Hey there, and thank you for tuning in. We're excited to bring you another great conversation today. If you like the show and want to support us, please hit the subscribe button so we can keep bringing you great content week after week. And if you're feeling extra generous, give this video a like and share your thoughts and comments down below. Thank you so much. And now, let's get into it. Welcome to Unpacking Japan. I'm Toby, and today in Osaka in our studio we welcome Emirichu. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're a content creator. You've been doing content for quite a few years. I think 8 years ago was the first time you uploaded on YouTube.
It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
And 3 years ago you moved to Japan for a new adventure. You do illustrations and storytelling through your illustrations with a lot of very fun, quirky and really cool videos for people to experience online. We're going to talk a little bit about what brought you here, and maybe we start there actually. Why did you decide to move to Japan 3 years ago?
So 3 years ago. As some people might know, I am currently in the agency GeeXPlus. And one of the first creators to, I guess, be like one of the guinea pigs of when that company first started was my friend Connor. And I remember back in like 2019 or so, he's like, hey, I'm going to move to Japan. I'm going to join this agency, going to see how it is. And it was very exciting news. And I would have no idea that just like 3 years later, I would also be joining the same company. But it was actually during COVID when he brought up the idea to me. He said, hey, GeeXPlus is looking for new talent. Do you want to move to Japan? And at the time, I was hesitant because I had never lived outside of the States before. Like I've traveled before, but I've never lived outside the States. And I wasn't sure if I would adjust okay. But then lockdown happened. So at first I was like, okay, I'll go for like a trial run. Like I'll go and visit for like 2 weeks.
Just test the waters, go for 2-3 weeks. And
then lockdown happened. And that happened for like a while. And I think I was starting to get cabin fever because I was like, just get me out. Like I want to get out. And so I told him like, you know what? As soon as borders open for work visas, I don't even need the trial run. I just want to move there, because I think to me it felt like this is kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I didn't really want to waste it.
This is kind of something new, right? To have an agency moving people around the world to Japan, or from around the world to Japan, to kind of continue doing content creation, because your content is online. You could be doing this in California, but you were invited to kind of come do this from Japan.
Yeah, so I was like, when am I going to get a chance to do something like this ever again? And so as soon as the borders opened for work visas, I moved. And that was back in like early April of 2022. And I've been here ever since.
So Connor, who you refer to, is CDogVA online, also a content creator in the field of like manga, anime, and much more nowadays, I think.
Yeah.
They came just before, so him and the other guys from Trash Taste came just before lockdown, I think. Yeah. Their timing was on point. What was the idea for you to move? When you got the email from GeeXPlus to be like, oh, maybe you can move to Japan. What was the idea for you in terms of a content creator to kind of uproot yourself from the United States to here?
So I actually didn't have any plans of whether I would make Japan-based content, because at the time, a lot of my content was just about my life in general. So I figured, okay, I'll have new experiences in Japan. I won't necessarily like shift into Japan content. I'll just keep making videos like I normally do, except now I live in Japan. But now a lot of my content is very Japan focused. So that's been a big change that I wasn't expecting.
You said you had never lived overseas before. Was Japan a country you had considered? Was it something you ever thought about? Oh, maybe one day I could move to Japan. That sounds like fun.
No, I'd always wanted to visit.
So you had never even been for a holiday before that?
No. I did for like, it was for like a guided tour with my parents back in like 2018. Okay. And it was just for like a week or so. It was actually in Osaka.
Oh.
Yeah,
cool.
it was for a week. But I feel like you don't really see that much of Japan in just a week.
No, a week is too short.
Way too short. So but I'd never thought to myself like, oh, I want to live overseas somewhere. It was just more like, oh, I'd like to do another fun trip. And then it just became me actually moving over.
How was it for you when you kind of arrived in Tokyo and it's like, okay, the borders for work visas have reopened. You're not doing the trial run, you're moving right away. And suddenly you live in Tokyo. First time you live overseas in a city like Tokyo.
Yeah, it was really exciting. I think I adjusted pretty quickly. Like I don't think I got like huge major culture shock. Yeah, but it was really, I was just excited to do everything. But now I feel like I've become more of like a homebody now.
3 years in, you kind of find your marks.
You
know what you like, you know what you don't like so much, and you have your routine. I want to talk a little bit about what got you even here in the first place. You got this opportunity through the work you've done and put out there online, your content creation, your art. How did that get started? If we go back to the very beginnings of Emirichu.
How much time do you have?
Oh, we've got plenty of time.
Like, how did I first start getting into YouTube?
I saw your first video was 8 years ago, and it was a song.
Yeah, okay.
It's not like I like you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm just embarrassed because when I look at how my art looked like years ago, I want to die a little bit inside. But also, I would not be where I am now had it not been for like all those scuffed videos I made years ago. But YouTube actually happened kind of accidentally. So I think if we go way back, I think what got me into just the format of telling a story while drawing was because of a study abroad trip I took in college. I went on a 1-week study abroad trip. It was like I was in elementary education in college. Okay. And one of the requirements for graduation is studying abroad. So I picked Guatemala. So for 1 week, we went to Guatemala, and you were supposed to take like pictures and videos and then make a presentation about what you learned and like your experiences. That was like our final project for the class. And I am really bad at just recording stuff in the moment or just taking pictures. I was kind of just focused on the trip itself. And so by the time we came back, I had nothing to show for it. And I didn't really want to use any of the photos and videos that my classmates took because those are theirs. So I was like, what am I supposed to do for the visuals when explaining my experience and like what I learned? But I like to draw. So for this final project, I just it was basically like a story time video for this class. So I talked about my experience and what I learned and tried adding some humor, and all of it was drawn because I really didn't have any pictures. So cool. And so in that final class, when everyone's doing their presentations, I was the only one that had just like no pictures and videos. It was just like a drawn retelling of what happened. But everyone really liked it, and people laughed a lot, and my professor loved it, and I got a 100. Wow. So I guess that was like my very first experience making something like that. But at the time, it hadn't occurred to me that like this is something I could do for YouTube. Because I was still focused on, I'm going to graduate, get my credentials, and I'm going to get to elementary education and be a teacher.
Yeah, you weren't even studying art. It was just a hobby for you.
Yeah. And I graduated. Well, actually, right before I graduated, I'm going to try to like TLDR it. But right before I graduated, I kind of realized that I didn't really want to pursue teaching, but I didn't know what else to do because this is what I got my bachelor's in. And I was really struggling with it because I would have to get my credentials, and that would mean like I'd have to take out like another loan and be in school for another 2 years, and then I could get on the road of actually getting into teaching. And I was like, I don't know if I want to commit to this if this isn't truly the career that I want to take. But I didn't know what to do. And for one of my graduation gifts, I got an iPad because one of my friends was like, hey, you really like drawing, but I know you stopped doing it in college. So I would like for you to just draw a bit more. And I was like, okay. So while I was visiting my parents in Korea, right after I graduated, I was like 21, still trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And they live kind of in the middle of nowhere. So all I really could do was draw. And that's when I got the idea of, okay, I'm just going to draw like some cute little, not even animations, these cute little like illustrations to these songs that I like on YouTube, and then just post them just for fun, just for shits and giggles. And it ended up reaching an audience that I wasn't expecting. And so by the time I came back to the States after visiting my parents for like a month, I had like an audience who was like, hey, post more. Like, we want to see
more songs,
more stuff. And I was like, oh, people really want to see this stuff. Okay. And even then, I didn't know you could monetize on YouTube.
This was 8 years ago. So that's like kind of just before the big YouTube boom, perhaps, in a way.
I think so.
Before kind of becoming a content creator became a career path for many.
Yeah.
So did you think about like, oh, is there something I could be doing full time? Or was it more like, okay, I'll still need to find a job, but maybe I'll do some more music videos on the side?
No, I hadn't thought, even then, I hadn't thought, oh, I can make this like a full-time job. I was like, well, that's fun. I'll keep doing it because it's fun. And I feel like I need this creative outlet. And then one of my friends was like, hey, did you know you can get monetized on YouTube? Why don't you do that? And I was like, you can make money? Oh. So I got monetized. And at the time I was working as a before and after school teacher at the YMCA. So I was basically working that part-time job and then also just making these like short, silly little YouTube videos at the same time. And then I started getting sponsorships and my audience just kept growing. It kind of like exploded and I wasn't expecting it. But I think what got me to finally make the decision to pursue it full time was, I think my supervisor found out about my channel. And no, he's really cool. Don't worry. He found out about my channel and he was like, why are you still working here? Like, you should go do this because this seems like that's way cooler. Supportive. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I guess after this school year's over, then I will go ahead and do this YouTube thing. So
when you decide to do this YouTube thing, suddenly you need to make an income from this, right? Your living is from that, and you need to put out videos regularly. How did you decide, okay, I want to make videos about this or about that? Did you have a specific idea of, okay, this year I'll make these videos, or was it very spontaneous every time?
It's usually spontaneous every time. It's because a lot of my fully drawn videos, they kind of take a while. So it has to be an idea that I really want to commit to and that I'll have fun working on. So in the beginning, all of like the little stories I told were like, oh, this would be a fun story to draw. I'm going to draw it. And like, even now, that's the one thing that I've tried to stay true to throughout all the years I've been doing my channel. It's to always focus on making stuff that I want to make. Even if no one asks for it, I think if you make a video that you truly wanted to make, people can tell. Like, I think people can tell if you're making a video because you're trying to please an audience versus making a video because it's truly something you wanted to make.
And making something you do want to make is also probably the only way to kind of stay consistent with creating, right? If you force yourself to do it, especially something where it's very creative, like drawing illustrations, you can't keep up with it if you don't like it, if you force yourself.
Yeah, it's like that's the fastest way, I think, to burn out.
So you start making those videos and suddenly you're doing this full time. You share those stories. How would you define your illustration style at the time? You said you don't like your older videos looking back. I thought they look really cool.
Oh,
it's like kind of, they still have this very hand-drawn feel to it, like it will be on paper nearly. Did you think about, oh, I want to make this style, or was it just like something you liked personally and you just enjoy drawing like this?
Definitely like anime and manga inspired. That's just how my art style has been pretty much for as long as I could hold a pencil. Yeah, and it continues to be very like inspired by the anime and manga that I enjoy. But obviously, as I keep drawing, I would like for it to look better and better.
Any specific inspirations at the time?
Oh my gosh, growing up, when I was a kid, one of my biggest inspirations was Arina Tanamura.
I don't know that.
She did like Full Moon o Sagashite and
I don't know that.
Like shoujo manga.
Okay.
And I love Fruits Basket, so Natsuki Takaya was also a big inspiration, and also Clamp. Just very like girly, big eyes. And then Yeah, those were like my main inspirations.
You never had like formal training in that, right? It's all something you picked up by kind of copying and practicing and just like, oh, I like this style, I want to do the
Yeah. So when it comes to like, I guess the technical side of art, I am very much not knowledgeable at all. But I would like to learn a bit more.
How has it changed when you moved to Japan? Your illustrations now, I feel like, are kind of complementing also footage. The footage you said you're very bad at doing, but now you enjoy filming yourself at cafes and filming cafes, and you complement this with illustrations.
Yeah.
Is this something that kind of was inspired by your move here?
100% yes, actually. That is one of the things I really enjoy about making content here, is that there's just some things that is better shown than if I just try to illustrate it. Like, for example, the Collab Cafe series that I've worked on. I'd like being able to merge footage and drawings, because that means I can make these videos longer. And also I don't have to draw as much, which is less work for me. And it's just fun because it doesn't feel... at first I was worried that people would be disappointed at the fact that I'm not drawing as much. But I think because the footage I do show is so... I guess like out there, it feels very novelty, like an anime collab cafe is already such a weird concept. So luckily my audience has been really enjoying seeing like the merging of both footage and illustrations. And I feel like it's also a good way for me to kind of add that like unique touch to my videos.
And include Japan as well, kind of your experience here. You said it's a lot of work to make those videos. What are we talking about? If you, let's say you have to make a 10-minute video that is just illustrations, how long do you need to usually put those together?
A 10-minute, at least 2 weeks.
Because it's not animated, right?
It's not.
Just many illustrations.
Oh my God. If it was animated, you would never see me again. Yeah. It would take forever. Luckily, it's not animated. It's just illustrations. But even then, it takes a while, especially because I try to make sure that I do all of the art. I don't think there's anything wrong with having like a team, because like teams are what make production quality look as good as it does. But I personally just have never wanted to hire anyone for like any of the art I do, because I think it's like my own personal like pride as an artist, where I like seeing, like, you know how I said earlier that I get embarrassed when I look at like my older work, but I like seeing the progression of how my art style has evolved and how it's changed over the years. So for me, I'm like, well, if I keep doing everything by myself, I will continue to see that progression. Even if it'll never reach like a super high production quality, I still like that I drew everything. And I feel like people also like the scuff of it too.
Wouldn't it be weird too if it's your channel with your name as an artist and someone else is making all the illustrations?
For me, it would be weird. I understand why people do it though, because like they want to come out with like higher quality videos on like a faster rate.
Maybe they want to focus on the stories more.
Yeah.
Is this something that kind of came up a lot for you as your channel grew and you suddenly had a big audience? You mentioned you got sponsors, but I imagine you also got a lot of requests like this too, right? For how to increase your output and make videos more frequently, work with these freelancers and illustrators. When you kind of first got to this point in your content creator career, how did that make you feel to kind of suddenly have this attention and this demand on putting things out more faster and so on?
It was daunting, but I feel like I've gotten pretty used to it, because like the explosion happened back in like 2019, 2018. So at the time it was a bit overwhelming, because like, whoa, this is like a whole new thing that I'm not used to. But I feel like now it's not as, I guess, scary.
Does it help working with an agency like GeeXPlus to kind of?
Oh yeah, that definitely helps too.
And we talked. We talked about it just before off camera. We also had a conversation with Meilyne, who's the one I imagine who may have reached out to you back then. And I think GeeXPlus doing a lot of really cool stuff. For you, one of the big turning points was your face reveal as well. I think in your career.
Oh my God, that was forever ago.
Yes, but up until then, you had done only illustrations, and suddenly there's a person behind the illustration that is visible, and you started attending conventions as well. How has that kind of changed content creation for you to not just be a name, an icon, and drawings, and suddenly people see you as a person, the person behind?
I mean, it hasn't really changed anything. I never really went out of my way to hide my face. It was one of those things like, if you look for it, you'll find it. Like, yeah, I'm not hiding anything. Yeah, I don't think it's changed anything really. It's just, if you know what I look like, you know what I look like. But the main visual I put out is just my drawings.
So now that you're in Japan and you kind of shifted your content to storytelling your life here, what are the things you've particularly enjoyed since you're here?
Well, I'm trying to think of like a not basic answer.
Well, like, one of the things that comes up a lot, the food. I feel like that comes up a lot in your conversation. Any specific things that you've been enjoying particularly going to, like restaurants and food that you couldn't have before?
Like anything new that I would not be able to experience in like California, or
for example, something that you kind of particularly enjoyed and that may have also positively affected your creative process of like, this is something that now I want to incorporate in my stories as well.
Okay. Well, I can tell you what I recently got into. Do you know oshikatsu?
Yes.
Why do you say it like that? Yeah, that's one of the things that I have gotten really into lately. And that's been really fun. And also just like a really good inspiration for me, both creatively and socially. So I've been trying to explore that a bit more.
So you've worked now as part of GeeXPlus, so you kind of suddenly joined the whole team of other content creators there.
Yeah.
That has opened the doors for you to a lot of collaboration opportunities too. What kind of things have you particularly kind of liked doing these videos together? You've been a few times on the Trash Taste podcast and worked more closely with Connor, who you said you knew from before already.
Yeah, no. Collaborating with other creators who are also in Japan have been a lot of fun. And one of the things that I really like doing is like dragging people with me to collaboration cafes. So usually if we get like a new GeeXPlus member, I'll be like, what are your top 5 favorite IPs? So I can be on the lookout for a cafe, so I can drag them to a cafe. But content wise, it's been a lot of fun. I don't collaborate with people as often on my main channel, but on the side art channel that I do with Daitis Building, that's opened up a lot more opportunities as well for collaborations. That's been a lot of fun.
On Building, you talked to Bellamy Brooks.
Yes.
I think she came on the podcast as well. And we had a good conversation. What was the idea behind your second channel, this new kind of collaboration with Daitis Building, which you started here in Japan, I think? Right?
Yeah, we started in Japan. Actually, that was Daitis's idea for the channel. He was feeling kind of burnt out from doing the usual like storytime content on his channel. And he's like, I don't really have a love for it anymore. And he had been looking for like creative inspiration of some kind. And what happened? He had like drawn traditionally again for the first time in a while.
So pen and paper. Or pen and paper or different techniques.
Yeah. Like, and he actually really enjoyed it. So he's like, you know what? I kind of want to go back into traditional art because I feel like this is like, he's been doing digital for so long that he's like, you know what? I really want to try traditional art again and just like reignite my passion for art. And so that's how Building was born. He wanted to do some kind of like podcasty-y type of video, something that wouldn't require as much work as like a storytime video that would take like a month.
It's a lot of work, these digital videos. People don't realize sometimes that burnout behind having to put them out regularly. So for you, since it was his idea, kind of how did you get into this and what have you enjoyed about this process of going back to the non-digital drawing, traditional drawing?
Oh, well, what's fun about traditional art is that I think because it kind of feels like we're new all over again, there's less of a fear of messing up. Because a lot of the channel is focusing on just like trying new things. So we'll try like working with clay for the first time, or we'll try painting with like gouache for the first time or something. It's just like the idea is to just not focus too much on trying to make something look amazing, but just to have like a fun, casual time doing art together. And I think that's one of the reasons why like the audience we have so far really enjoy it, because there isn't that stress of like, this is how you're supposed to paint. Like these are our tips. You need to follow it or you're doing art wrong. It's very much like they get to watch us just screw up constantly and like learn from all of our screw ups. And like I said, the collaborations have also been cool. So we love the episode that we did with Belle, where she taught us how, like, not even teach, just like showed a fraction of the work that she has to do for crazy. Like an anime. It's insane. Yeah. I still don't get it, but it was an amazing experience, and our audience really loved it too. And just getting to work with these different industry professionals, where like we just get to feel like newbies or like little ducklings just learning how to swim again. And one of the collaborations we did recently that I still can't believe even happened was we got to watch a background painter from Studio Ghibli.
Wow.
That's actually thanks to Sunplus.
That's super cool.
Yeah, they helped coordinate that collaboration together. And so he, Nishikawa-sensei, he came to our studio and basically just like painted these beautiful clouds and like this beautiful scenery, and was basically talking about his techniques and the way, like his background in painting. And it was an amazing time.
Doing all the Spilled Ink episodes and experimenting with gouache and other instruments. What are some of the things you particularly enjoyed and kind of decided, oh, this is something I want to try to apply now on my kind of main projects?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I really appreciate about Spilled Ink is it kind of taught me to draw with more intention, because when you're drawing traditionally, you don't have Control Z. You don't have the lasso tool. Everything you do has to be drawn with, like, you have to kind of know what you want to do. And so now I've noticed that when I draw digitally, I draw much faster, and I'm not Control Zing as often, and I'm not redrawing the same circle 57 times as often. And I haven't even been doing it intentionally. It's just more like, oh, I've noticed that thanks to what we do on Spilled Ink, now I feel more comfortable and like less fearful when I draw on digital.
When you can do digital drawings and you can just erase Control Z every time, do you feel like it makes you more like a perfectionist because you need to get it right because you can so easily kind of erase?
Yeah.
So these kind of collaborations, you as an artist and illustrator, have you ever thought about making your own manga or your own kind of story?
That is on my bucket list, actually. Yeah. Before I die, at some point in my life.
You've got plenty of time.
Fingers crossed. Before I die, I want to make like a story. It doesn't even have to be like a super ongoing long series. Even if it's just a one shot, I want to make some kind of manga of some sort.
I think in your latest appearance on Trash Taste, you mentioned that you and Didus were both participating into this competition where you were submitting things.
It was the Kadokawa Wordless World manga contest. So they had us make an episode promoting it and also working on our own little like one shots. I unfortunately did not finish mine. Didus, however, finished his to completion and he submitted it.
How was that experience for you to kind of make some project for this kind of competition, not just for a YouTube video, not just for yourself, but try to put together a full story to submit to Kadokawa, which is a publishing company?
Very scary. I only ever got as far as like showing my rough draft to one of the editors at Kadokawa. Didus actually, he did his rough draft and then he also managed to like finish inking, I think like 12 pages or 12, 15 pages. It was a lot. But he actually learned a lot too. And he learned how to use those like pen nib tools that a lot of mangaka use when they draw traditionally. And he discovered that he really enjoys using it. So that became like a new tool to add to his tool belt.
So he's now kind of focusing on kind of perfecting that skill and these new
Yeah, he really likes that tool.
Story-wise, do you already have something in mind? The kind of story
I do.
Yeah, you do. But I guess this is not yet the time to talk about
No, I don't want to talk about it. But I do have a story that I want to illustrate.
Now that you're here in Japan, you have had the opportunity to work with Japanese illustrators, see how they work, get closer to anime studios and production studios here. How has this kind of motivated you with your own creation, since anime was what originally inspired you to also get started?
It feels so creatively inspiring to me because now it feels like less of a like faraway dream. Like, you know, meeting other like foreigners who are in the anime industry like Belle, and seeing people like even just create, like getting into the anime industry and like being able to create something. Like, for example, Garnt recently announced his anime at Anime Expo.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks amazing. And it's just so cool that we can do stuff like that now. And I have met other artists, like other content creators who live here, and like they have been wanting to make their own stories and like they're working on their own stories. And I think just being surrounded by so many other creatives who have had those same inspirations growing up and are now making them a reality has been so amazing to see. And it's like making me really want to make the push to actually like make stories and like make my childhood dreams come true.
Did you ever think this would be possible when you started your YouTube content creation?
No, I did not think I would ever get this far. Like, I'm already well past the point of how far I thought I would take YouTube. Like, if you had asked me back in like 2019, like, how far do you think this is going to go? I'd be like, I don't know, like maybe a few more years, then I'll figure out the next step in my life. But just the fact that I've been able to live in Japan and make content has been insane, and like some still doesn't feel real sometimes.
Any specifics? You mentioned the cafes a couple of times that you like, that you've made content about regularly. Tell me more about those cafes. What makes them so interesting for you, and why do you want to bring so many people to those to experience them?
So the anime cafes, that also kind of happened by accident. I did not move to Japan with the intention of like, I'm going to make videos about collab cafes. So actually, it was my very first collab cafe I ever went to was in Arena Tanamura collab cafe, who, as I mentioned earlier, was one of my big mangaka inspirations when I was a kid. And this was just something that one of like the GeeXPlus staff brought up because she also was a fan. She's like, hey, they're doing a cafe. Do you want to go? And I'm like, sure, I'd love to. So I went, and even though objectively was not a great cafe, I think it holds a special place in my heart as like the very first cafe I ever went to. And I was just blown away at the fact that it was even a thing. Like just having an IP and curating like a menu related to that IP, and you can like take pictures there, and it's just cute. And you get cute little coasters. It's amazing. And then I found out there's a website that basically gives you updates on what collab cafes are coming out.
Also, like you have like a list of all the next year, this month you will have.
Yeah. So like you just log on and you see what new collaborations are happening within the next like month or so.
That's pretty cool.
So that's kind of how I've been keeping up with all these different cafes. And I had the idea at first, I was like, I'm just going to go to like 10 of these and then I'll make a video. And that was my very first I went to 10 anime cafes video. People really liked it because they were like, I've never heard of this. This is crazy. Because this was not a thing in the States back when I lived in California. Like sometimes you'd have like boba places like doing collabs for like a movie or something, and they'd have like 3 drinks.
Oh, I see. Like just with the characters from the anime movie.
Yeah. But this was the first time I think people. I'm like, okay, I'm not saying that I pioneered this concept. Like collab cafes have been a thing. But I noticed like, I don't see that many people going to these things. I see them a lot more now through like shorts. But at the time, I hadn't seen a lot of like long form content about collab cafes. Because for me, I was like, well, if I were to make Japan content, what would I want to make it about? I don't want to go to like, these are my food recommendations. Like, this is my favorite ramen place. Because I feel like that would just feel very typical.
Especially if, according to your own saying, you prefer instant ramen.
Yeah, I would not be a trustworthy judge for that sort of thing. But I thought, okay, because a lot of my audience is really big into fandom culture. So I thought, this is perfect. I get to go to this like cool cafe thing and my audience will enjoy it because this is like participating in this like fandom culture. And that's why it's become like an ongoing series on my channel, even though collab cafes are not that great, like flavor wise, price wise.
Yeah, a bit overpriced probably, but you get the environment of being kind of completely into whatever you're a fan of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the fun of it.
Since you're making videos about those, how do you approach it creatively when you go there? Do you already start imagining what kind of illustrations you want to do to complement the things you film? Or do you think about all of this later when you're back in your studio?
I think about it later after I've already gone, because I don't know like how good everything's going to taste. So it's more like I take video footage and pictures of all the stuff I ordered, and then I make notes about like what I ate, if it was good. And then later when I compile everything together, that's when I can start like coming up with, I type up a script basically detailing my experience at every single one. And then I figure out how to make it interesting with like the drawings that I insert.
So you type out, like you would write a story of like a journal of today.
It's basically, it's basically like a video journal.
And then do you choose how many illustrations you're gonna make for this, or is it kind of you start drawing and you see how much you need and you kind of just adapt depending on how long the story goes? Or do you have like an idea of, oh, this is gonna be 100 frames, 200 frames?
Basically if I look at the script and I'll highlight which parts I know I have footage for, and whatever gaps there are where I'm like, oh, I don't really have anything to show this, then I draw it.
What makes I feel like when you look at your drawings, or when I look at your drawings, it's very impactful sometimes how the poses change and how you go from one scene to the next with the characters. What makes it so impactful? Is there some intention behind where you think about, I'm going to draw the character like this to illustrate that, and it has to be, the next frame has to be in this way to really convey what I want? Is there like, are there specific techniques you're using, or is it more just how you feel it?
I don't really think about it that hard. I think it's just more like how I feel, or like what would be fun to draw. For example, if I'm explaining like, let's say I say like this omurice tasted like ass. It's a lot more boring to just show the footage of the omurice to be like, this omurice tasted like ass. Okay. But if you added a drawing of me like looking like I'm in despair because of how ash this omurice tasted, automatically it elevates that one sentence of like, this omurice tasted like ass. And I'm like
the
having the worst time of my life. Yeah. It just makes it more fun, I think, visually.
Are there techniques for these that you would like to or that you have studied specifically from manga, or that you want to kind of incorporate more? This is all coming from manga drawing, right? The way. So I guess there's specific ways to represent specific emotions or reactions. Are these things that you would like to study, maybe with like a professional manga drawer from one of your favorite mangas to kind of see how they do? Or is it something you want to kind of keep your way?
I think maybe just keep my way. Again, I have not thought about it nearly that hard. It's just more like, what would be fun to draw for this moment?
Which is what makes it natural then in the end for your audience as well, because it's just you and your drawing and not something you've taken. So when you go to these manga cafes and you film and you take your notes and you write your script and then you start drawing and then you have the finished video, how long does that usually take you?
I want to say like one of those full compilations of like 10 to 12 cafes.
Yeah, for example.
I want to say like, sorry, are you saying like after I have all of like the footage and everything? And
yeah,
like
from the moment you go to the cafe and then you finish the video.
Oh my God. Oh, nowadays, probably like 5 months.
Wow.
Only because I have gotten so much pickier about which cafes I go to. Because before I'd be like, yeah, I like that IP. I'll go to that one. But now I'll look at an article and the first thing I look at is the menu. If the menu looks like ass, I don't go.
What is important on the menu for you? How it looks visually or how it potentially tastes?
How it looks visually, I think. Because I don't mind going to a cafe where the visuals look good, but the taste is bad. But if the visuals don't look good, chances are the taste will also not be good.
Yeah, that makes sense. So 5 months. That's a long time spent on the video.
I mean, I'm not actively working on the video for 5 months, but it's more like, oh, it's been like 4 months and I have 9 cafes I've gone to. I just need like
one more.
Yeah, 1 more, 2 more.
As part of kind of being a content creator now, you kind of had the opportunity to go to a lot of conventions as well. What do you remember the first convention you ever attended as like a panelist or speaker?
Oh, like the first one I ever guested at? I do remember it.
Which one was it?
I don't remember it fondly. It doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore.
No.
So maybe not the best one to talk about. But what was a convention that you particularly enjoyed then?
Oh my God. There was a convention I went to that I'll never forget. It was called Anamangaki. And it was in Malaysia. Yes. That one was wonderful. That was a great experience.
What is it like for you? You know, I imagine growing up, you may have gone to conventions. San Diego, I think, has a big convention as well.
Yeah, San Diego Comic-Con.
And you may have gone there just as a fan, and now you get to go there as a guest and speaker and interact with your fan.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
It was great. I mean, it's still great. It's still a crazy experience, I think, to meet anyone face to face and hear them say that they watch your videos, convention or not. Like, but yeah, guesting at a con has been fun. Sorry, I don't have like a super interesting answer for that.
I was wondering if maybe you had how it's like kind of being a guest at these conventions, and if there's like interesting events happening for you as well that maybe people that attend don't see or don't realize. But could be that there's nothing and you just enjoy the fan interaction.
Yeah. No, I don't usually have anything crazy going on.
Do you go a lot to conventions nowadays? Is it like a regular thing?
Nowadays, no. I think I went to a lot like 2-3 years ago. I don't go to them as often anymore now. I think just because everything feels so far from Japan.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
You always have to fly to the United States. And Japan has a few, but then it's different, I guess.
Yeah, no, I've never guessed it at a con in Japan.
So you came 3 years ago, and at the beginning, everything is new. And you said earlier that now you kind of have your routine, you have the places you like, and you kind of settled in. How do you see kind of your life evolving in Japan? Is this a place you see yourself long term that you enjoy living in?
I do enjoy living here. I don't know. I'm just kind of just winging it. I've been winging it for the past 3 years, and I feel like I'm continuing to do that. So I have no idea where I'm going to end up settling. But I've been enjoying my time here so far. So I guess for however long as I do content creation for, that's probably how long I'll be in Japan for.
What kind of content creation that you haven't done that you had on your mind for a long time are things you'd like to do besides perhaps like a manga project? Are there videos, are there places in Japan that you would like to go and explore and kind of tell stories about?
Nope. The ideas just come as I continue to live life.
Day by day.
Yeah. The stuff that I've made videos about in the past like 3 months, did not plan to make any of those at like the beginning of the year. It's literally just as my life happens, whatever inspires me, that's what I make a video about. So like recently I made like 4 videos in a row about Love and Deepspace. If you told me back in January that was going to be a thing, I would not have believed you. So it's just literally just whatever is interesting to me at the moment. That's what I make a video about.
So that's anime? Manga?
There's an otome game.
It's a game?
Yes.
What made it so interesting for you that you kind of decided to make 4 videos in a row about it?
I think for me, it was kind of my gateway into oshikatsu culture, which is like activities or like fan meetings where people get together and celebrate their favorite like character, oshi, or thing, which I had never really participated in before this year. In the many cafes that I had gone to, I had seen a lot of times people bringing in like plushies of the character from whatever IP that cafe was hosting, and like they take pictures with it, or like they would bring like 12 acrylic stands and like spread them on their table with all the cafe stuff and take pictures. And I remember wondering, like, do they wait for these collab cafes to pop up to like go to these things and like take pictures of them? But no, that's not the case at all. Like, there's actually cafes in Japan that specifically are meant for oshikatsu. So they'll have like multicolored cakes and drinks, and you go and order whatever colored cake or drink is like corresponding with the character that you've brought with you. So you can go and like take pictures, basically like make your own collab cafe essentially. And with the game that I got into, what inspired me to make multiple videos about it is basically sort of combining the idea of collab cafes and oshikatsu culture together. So these characters in this ultimate game have birthdays. And my friends were like, we should celebrate this character's birthday in some like fun, creative way. And so I got the idea of, well, I really like going to collab cafes that have curated menus. We should just come up with our own curated menu and like do a thing.
Oh.
And so, yeah, that's how that happened. And then that's how I found out about the concept of like oshikatsu culture. And then I started talking to other girls who are also into that same thing. And I've been learning so much more about it. So that's also one of the, I guess, like Japan culture specific things that I have gotten into recently.
What's the community like in these kind of oshikatsu? You mentioned you met all these other girls and you have all the same interests. And for this game or some others for something else.
Yeah.
How have you found that community kind of getting into something that's completely new for you here?
It's amazing. It is actually so much more wholesome than I expected. Because you kind of just hear like, oh, fan meetup. You know, it's like going to a con, basically. Like you just meet up with your friends and like do this thing. But I think hearing about the way, well, seeing how it has positively impacted my own life, and also seeing the way it has positively impacted like other people's lives has been really interesting. And I know I sound like super dramatic when I say that, but I mean, I met up with a friend who is really obsessed with Geto and Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. And so she likes to attend these oshikatsu events with these other girls who are also into Jujutsu Kaisen. But she told me that for a while she had felt very like agoraphobic and like kind of scared to meet new people. But then you have this shared interest that a lot of the outside world perceives as like strange and cringe. So then you meet up with these other strangers who have this exact same interest. So you kind of already remove that barrier of judgment. And because she's been like meeting all these new people, like her Japanese has really improved and she feels a lot more comfortable, like just like meeting up and like meeting new people and like having fun together. And I think similarly, it has also helped me feel more like creatively and socially fulfilled, because ever since I got into I'm not even talking about just like the game that I'm really into lately, just in general, having this piece of like fan thing that you're really into and drawing a lot more fan art for it and like having discussions about it. I don't know. It just gets like the creative juices flowing. It's been a lot of fun.
What kind of misconceptions do you think people have about this oshikatsu? And you said it's just a group of people that enjoy specific IPs and making fan art and sharing common interests. Nothing seems cringe or strange about it, right? But the outside perspective seems like that a little bit. What are the misconceptions that people have?
I don't know. I think I get why people get like weirded out about it, because they're like, whoa, this seems like really obsessive and like very strange. But I don't know. I feel like if you're not hurting anyone and you're just having a good time and like minding your own business, then I don't think there's anything cringe about it. I feel like there are ways that you can be a cringe fan. So like, for example, if someone says like, oh, I'm really into this character, cool, great. But if they, at the same time, if they're like, oh, I'm really into this character and every day I argue with people for hours, like on Twitter over this character, then I'm like, that's kind of cringe. Or if someone's like, oh, I like listening to K-pop, cool. I stan this group, cool. Oh, but like if you spend hours every day like arguing with people, getting into like stan wars and like calling people ugly because they don't like your group, then in my opinion, I think like that's when I'm like, that's kind of like cringe fan behavior.
What really got you into Love and Deepspace? You said the community, the people that kind of had this shared interest and that got you into oshikatsu and so on. What is the game about?
It's a dating sim.
The dating sim.
Yeah. But for me, I really enjoyed the story of the game, which is so funny enough. I got into the game because of a sponsor, and I have never really been into ultimate games because I was like, I don't really need it. Like, what's the point? Like, I don't need like a virtual boyfriend. Doesn't make any sense. But then it turns out a lot of these games are very lore heavy. And so for me, I ended up getting extremely invested in the lore. And then the way I fell deeper into it was, oh, I have like a theory in my head about how this character might have been like in their past. So I'm going to draw some comics about it for fun. And then it just kind of snowballed from there, because then I started getting even more ideas about like what fan art to draw. And then I just kept going.
That's cool that you kind of get that inspiration too, to take it into for your own art and your own storytelling from that game that you were not into in the first place.
Yeah.
Are there other games or things that really inspire you at the moment? Or games or animes or mangas?
Oh my goodness. At the moment? At the moment, no.
So this is really like your focus.
This is my fixation at the moment. I know it probably won't be for like forever, obviously, but at the moment, this is a thing that's gotten me really inspired. And like every year, it's like a new thing.
Is this a Japan-only game, or is it like international?
No, it's international as well.
For people that kind of want to join the community, or here also in Japan, are there specific ways or places where they meet up online to kind of talk about?
Yeah, I think just, I guess, any online space where people post content about it, that's usually where people find community. I think for me, a lot of the community-based stuff I do is just my IRL friends, because I do have like quite a handful of friends who are into the game as well, which probably is also why I've like gotten so into it, because I get to like meet up with my friends every now and then and like engage in the oshikatsu culture and just have fun together.
What was that for you? Moving from California to Japan, you kind of had your IRL friends over there, you left them behind, and you kind of made a completely new group of friends, maybe with different new interests, introducing you to new hobbies and such. How has the community been for you here in Japan and Tokyo, moving all the way across the world?
Oh, it's been really nice. I think what really helped with adjusting to the move is having friends already established here. I think it would have been a lot more difficult and very lonely if I came here and like didn't know a single person. And honestly, I don't know if I would have moved here had that been the case. But yeah, it's been really nice, like just having like a strong support system from the get-go. And then that kind of just expands naturally through mutual friends, or like when new talent come in and like you introduce yourselves and you end up clicking with some people. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
Have these 3 years been kind of how you expected them to go after you decided to, okay, now I'm going, I don't do the test run, I'm coming to Japan as soon as the borders open? Has it been like you expected it to be, or was it kind of very... a lot of things didn't go as planned?
I had no expectations. So it's more like I just keep getting pleasantly surprised.
Do you think that's one of maybe the easier ways to move to Japan, to have no expectations? A lot of people imagine Japan to be like this or to be like that, and they kind of build up their minds about how it might be to live here, and then maybe they end up disappointed, maybe they end up not finding what they want.
Maybe. I don't know what kind of expectations people normally have when they move to a foreign country. I guess more like just keep it realistic.
So just enjoying winging it. I feel like that's your motto a little bit, to kind of
that's kind of how
go with the flow, just experience things every day as they come, and turn your life into a story in a way. Yeah,
I think that's, when I think about it now, I think that's kind of how my entire career has gotten. I've just been winging it and like doing, I guess, what feels right. And it's been working out for me so far.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel a lot of people nowadays, especially with content creation, they have these expectations of you need to do this way, you need to beat the algorithm, you need to create content.
No, I can't do that. I know some people are really good at that. I can't. It stresses me out too much. So anytime I make, even with my videos, if I make anything, I kind of just assume every video is going to flop.
Oh, really?
Because if I expect a video to be a banger and it's not, that like disappointment would really affect how I continue on creatively on like the next thing I work on. Because if you have that expectation, this is just what I do personally. This is not me being like, you need to do this to avoid burnout. For me personally, I try to not expect everything to fail, because that's not a good headspace to be in either, but just more like I'm not setting a high actually that sounds bad.
I'm not setting a high goal for the...
I think just more like not expecting anything crazy.
And do you feel like this is a common problem when you start having a big audience and a lot of success and millions of views, that like, oh, every next video should get a few million views?
Yeah,
every next video.
I feel like a trap that a lot of content creators fall into is being terrified of like falling out of their peak, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like a lot of content creators, especially when they blow up, they kind of have this expectation of like, this is going to continue. This is going to be an upward trend. It usually isn't. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like not constantly outdoing yourself, because I feel like that is what would lead you to burnout. Again, I think it also has to do with the fact that I'm not like a super ambitious person to begin with. I'm not a very high risk, high reward type of gal, which is why I've been winging it for most of my career. But I feel like that really messes with people's heads, where they're like, I have to game the system. I have to beat the algorithm. I have to know exactly what my audience wants. And I have to hit these specific numbers. Because I feel like when you have that expectation for yourself, like, inevitably you're going to be disappointed because you can't predict everything. And I feel like once you feel that first hit of disappointment, then it kind of instills like a fear in you of like, oh, I'm falling off. This is going to be, this continue to be a thing. This is going to be a downward spiral. And I don't think that is the healthiest way to go about content creation. But this is just, again, this is my own perspective as someone who I feel like I've had to not force myself to, but I feel like I've had to get used to going about it not with the intention of like, I always have to do better, because I know that with something like drawing, if I feel even like a little bit, what is it? Like disappointed in myself or my work, then it can cause me to like falter. If that, I don't know if I worded that.
Yeah,
right.
No, I get what you mean. I think this kind of this endless pressure of having to putting out things, and as an artist too, you can technically always go over your drawing again, make it better, and think about, oh, maybe I can draw this like this and it will perform better or whatnot. So for you, when do you decide it's done? And okay, this video, this drawing, this illustration is done, I'll put it out there and then I'll move on to the next.
Yeah.
What is the point for you where you're able to say, this video is fine, these illustrations are good, I'll put them out and share them and move on to the next one?
It's just, again, just a feeling. Like if I'm happy with it, okay, cool, good enough, I'll put it out. Because for me, as long as I get it done and the idea is there, then that is good enough for me.
And if you have, as you said, not too many expectations for yourself, you are often also positively surprised about the audience reactions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How has your community grown over the years? They've come along with you on this journey, seen your illustrations, new people have joined.
Yeah.
How has it been for you to kind of engage and interact with them over the years?
It's been great. I'm really feeling the, I guess, age of my channel, because now when I go to conventions, I'll have people come up to me being like, I grew up on your stuff, or like, I watched you when I was a kid. And I'm like, what do you mean when you were a kid? How old are you now? What? So that has been like a very surprising experience. But I really appreciate the community that I've grown over the years, because I think what stayed consistent is that they have been very nice and very receptive to me just wanting to make what I want to make, which I in turn has helped me like pivot and just make things that aren't totally related to storytime content comfortably, because people know, I want people to know like, oh, if Emily makes a video about it, it's because she wanted to. And I feel like luckily my audience has understood that very well, and they've always been so kind, especially when I meet them in person. They've always been so sweet and kind. So yeah, it's been really nice meeting everyone over the years.
Then, to continue making what they want. And if you might be scared of, oh, I want to try something new, but what if they don't like it? And then you kind of stay with just saying what your audience seems to have come along with you for the journey wherever you take them.
Yeah.
From California to Japan and to the anime cafes and the con cafes. So for you, a lot of projects coming up, some of which you don't want to share yet, but I'm sure we will see one of your mangas one day.
Hopefully one day. I know making a manga would be a lot of work, but I really want to do it.
And maybe some other cool videos, some new cafes to explore together with you.
Oh yeah, of course. Always.
Emily, thank you so much for coming all the way to Osaka and sharing your story, sharing a little bit of your experience here in Japan and how you are enjoying this every day and turning this into illustrations and drawings for people to appreciate on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for listening and watching. This was Unpacking Japan, and we'll be back in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future conversations. And we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this episode, here are a couple more that we think you'll enjoy. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you next time.